So I'm going to be doing a little test today that there is no real reason for at all. I've tried to think of a real life scenario where you would use the results of this test that I'm going to do. I can't think of one, but I've been a bit fascinated, a bit obsessed maybe even, with the idea of this test that I'm going to perform this morning. It's 7:30 in the morning and I'm heading out to one of my favourite spots to do this test. So before I carry out the test today, before I even start it, there's going to be a few things that I'm going to have to change within my normal settings in the DJI Fly app, and that is the return to home settings, where I normally have it set to return to home on a loss of connection. And I'm going to have to change that, and I'm going to change it to hover. And the reason for that should become clear as we get to the test, which I'm a little bit nervous about once again. I've got a lot of faith in Lassie, as you all know, and we've been through a lot together. She can do a lot more than is expected of her. This one's going to be a little bit of a test. It's not, if it fails, it wouldn't be anything to do with Lassie. It'll purely because of my user error and maybe even my stupidity in trying a test like this. So anyway, I'm going to have to turn off, I'm going to have to switch the return to home mode to hover. I'm going to have to make sure that I have a full battery and I don't waste a lot of time, because there's a real time constraint involved in this one. And if my timing is out, then we could be in real trouble. I've also come out at this time in the morning because I'm expecting the two locations that I'm going to use for this test today to be quite sparse, and there won't be many people out at this time of the day. There may be a few dog walkers, but I'm hoping that they'll have been out, walked their dogs, and they'll be back home getting ready to go to work, or even have left for work by now. So I'm hoping that it's going to be fairly quiet at the two locations. Not that there's any danger involved, but I just like to fly when there's no one else about, just in case it all goes awry. So let me talk about the two locations that are involved in this test today. And if you've watched my videos before, and you've watched all of them, there's only 80 videos on the channel, but if you're familiar with them, you'll be familiar with the two locations. One is at the Barony A-frame. That's where I'm going to start the test. And the second location is Dumfries House. Here's a look on the map where they are, and as the drone flies, here is the distance from where I'll be launching today and where Lassie will be hovering. And here is the road that I will have to drive to get from one location to the other. There's no shortcut here, there's no other way of getting to the second location. So I have to be pretty quick on my feet here. Let me tell you what the test is then, because you've been waiting patiently and hanging on to see what this test's all about. What I intend to do is go to the Barony A-frame, launch Lassie, send her right down to the car park at the Dumfries House, and let her hover. I'll probably hover her about 200 feet above the car park, and while she's hovering there, I'm going to jump in the car and drive round to the car park. Hopefully she'll still be hovering there. She should be. If I set the return to home to hover and I lose connection, which I expect I'm probably going to lose connection, maybe not, but I might lose connection while I'm driving to the location. to Dumfries House while as we're hovering. But whether I lose connection or not, once I arrive at the car park and get under her, I should be able to re-establish connection and bring her safely down to land. Now, the battery is going to last about 25 minutes. That then gives me a good 20 minutes to get to the car, drive round, park up and bring Lassie safely down. I think that's plenty of time. We'll soon find out. If the worst comes to the worst and she runs out of battery power, what she's going to do, I expect, come down to the ground in a nice self-controlled, auto-controlled manner and gently land, and I'm going to put her right in the back corner of the car park, so that if she does do that, and it'll be at the grass, not where any of the cars park, if she does do that, she wouldn't be landing on any cars, she'll be perfectly safe. Okay, so I want to set the return to home to hover. And I'm just going to send Lassie out right now with 96% battery power. So let's go. And I'll take her up to about 100 metres, I think. And that's probably where I'll let her hover. I can see I'm now down to 3 orange bars in the signal. The signal, let's see if we can pick it back up just enough to get me a little bit forward. I just want to be hovering over the grass there in case any car, no cars ever park up at the back here, but just in case. Okay, so we're hovering right over the grass now, and in fact right over that circular section. Right, so now would be a good time to head to the car. And let's drive down towards, let's drive right down to the Dumfries House and see if we can pick her up. Is this crazy? I think it is, isn't it? It is a bit. Where's the car key? Oh no. There it is. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I've lost the signal now. Yeah, signal's been lost. So she should be hovering, just waiting for me to come and get her. And I don't have long. So let's go. That's not good. I don't know what the beeping was for there, but I don't like the sound of that. Should be just above us, hopefully. We have her again. Do we have full control?
Maximum flight altitude reached.
We do. Signal lost. Where is she? She should be directly above me. She's drifted slightly. She's drifted slightly while I was coming here, but let's see if we can pick her up. Oh, wait a minute. She started to return to home. That's not good. That is not good. That wasn't expected. Doing that, I want it to come to me. In fact, let's go in now and update the home point. First thing we should do, yeah, update the home point, set it to my controller. Okay.
The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
So that's interesting. So that is very interesting, and I will check this, but it seems that even though I set the return to home to hover, when she lost connection, or at least when the battery was low and she decided to auto return to home, she decided to go back to the launch point. That's interesting. So she's behind me now. There we are. And that's me here, so she's coming back. Still got plenty of time in the battery. Plenty of time left in the battery. And I've got a good strong signal connection. And she's coming in just over those trees now. So hello, where have you been? You've been off having an adventure on your own. Right, let's get you down. So not unexpectedly, I got back in time, plenty of time for Lassie. There was no real issue there. The one unexpected thing that happened was that I think when I lost connection, she did hover, but just as I was turning in, I got a low battery warning and the return to home countdown started. And before I was driving, so I couldn't reach over and stop it. So the return to home automatically engaged, and it seems that instead of hovering, she started to head back to where she had launched from. So here's something to think about. I did a test last week where I tested the return to home modes. Return to home, hover, and land. And when I did the hover test, she did exactly that. When we disconnected, she just hovered there. The difference in the test that happened today was there was also a battery low warning happened. So it seems to me that even if you have your return to home set to hover, if you lose connection, she will hover there until the battery gets to the point where she warns and decides to auto return to home, and then she will return to the home point that is, if you haven't updated it, it will be a launch point. That seems to be what's happening, and that's something that I wasn't aware of, and I'm pretty sure no one else was aware of. I will do a further test just to confirm that, but that's what it looks like to me. So I think that's well worth knowing, and I hope it's worth knowing for you guys. And I hope it's worth knowing for you too. I'll see you all when I get back from my trip up north.